Hey everybody, welcome to the Restless Real Estate Podcast. I am your co-host Christine Martin.
And I am your co-host Tyler Lee. We did that perfectly.
We
Look
really
at that.
Finally, 700,000 episodes in and we're good. Today we're always excited about our guests. So I can't say we have a guest that we're super duper excited about, but we're super duper excited to have Sherry Riano with us.
The one, the only.
The one, the only. I am so sad that we haven't been recording every part of the conversation we've already had.
I know, we've been here for a while, and every time I'm like, oh, you have to repeat that when we shoot. Oh,
we're going to have Sherry back. Hopefully she'll enjoy herself, and we can have her back several times because we have so much to learn from Sherry.
We do.
So Sherry, tell us how we have come to know you as a vendor, and who are you in our lives, and how have we come to be here?
Sure. I started working with Marti about, I want to say 5 years ago as a preferred lender. It was a good mix of her style and mine. I am, as she is, very particular about who I work with. I want to work with people that have the same passion and morals I do for my clients. I talk about all the time that I would much rather walk away from a transaction if it's right for a client than get a transaction for the sake of a transaction. And then Marti's the same way. You know, we feel that it's the right way to do business. And so for me, it was just a perfect fit. And I have loved every minute of it. I have made a lot of good friends being in my position. And so I've been pretty happy with what's going on. I believe that it's a perfect fit for us.
That's exciting. That's really exciting.
Plain and simple. So kind of going beyond that, take us back to the very, very beginning. I know she mentioned this to us a little earlier. It's amazing. How did you get started in lending?
So I technically was working in cosmetics for a little known company called Estee Lauder. And I was working at what was, I think, Macy's at the time.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry, Siri. But back to my story. So I was working at Estee Lauder.
I'm keeping that in.
My job was to promote revenue, grow the brand, so forth, and I did that, and I did it very well. I was number one. I went from a counter that barely was making any money to the top counter in Southeast. So Estee's son, Leonard, decided to come down on his private jet and meet me to find out what I had done and why I had done it, because he had no one else that had ever done what I had done in the time period. So I got to meet him. It was fabulous, great man. Finish up the day. That was a 50-50 job where you worked for the store 50% and then you would work for Estee Lauder 50%. So the store manager came that day and explained to me how I was capped at my income and I would never go any further than I was. And so I was like, well, let's see about that. So I looked in the paper that following Sunday. There was an ad for loan officers. You would go down to Austin, Texas and be trained, and you would come back and be a loan officer. And hence, that's where my story started.
It's just as simple as that. Just take a plane to Texas and you can become a loan officer.
The day after you meet Estee Lauder's son, who's there to tell you that you're amazing and doing an amazing job.
Man, he missed out.
Because I hope he's watching. Can we tag him in this?
If you're watching this,
awesome.
Mr. Lauder, I mean...
Thank you.
And talk about success. Tell me about this office. I'm going to insert some B-roll that I'm about to shoot here, so please narrate.
Well, we have come a long way, and my team and I have worked really hard. We got a brand new office. We signed the lease on this building the very day that the governor decided to lock us down for COVID. So we were not allowed to come in our brand new office, which we were so excited about for months. But we love the space here. We are in the building right in front of Bond Brothers Brewery. So if ever you're around and you want to, grab a beer, hit me up. I'm always happy to meet you downstairs. But we're just fortunate, we have taken, I started this ride a long time ago. I when I was probably 12, because it's 21 years now, so probably about 12, right? But I've taken it from nothing to something. I've learned a lot along the way. I've had valuable teachers and people who have really poured into my career and to me personally, which has helped me grow. I'm passionate about my clients. I still work with clients that I had 20 years ago. They still call me, they search me out, they find me, they want to work with me, they know what to expect, and nothing's really changed about service for me. And so that's allowed me, we're just to give you an insight, this past month we're closing $20 million in volume. That's a lot of people that we have gotten either refinanced and helped them in that way and saved them hundreds of dollars, or put them in homes. So, we're very proud of what we do here, and I could not do it. I have a 5-member team that is bar none the best team in this town. I'll tell you that without a doubt. We work on the weekends and we work on the evenings, and none of them ever complain. You know, they love being here, and I think, God, I've done something right, and the Lord has blessed me to have these people in my life, to be able to go and help more people get the American dream, because isn't that what I'm here for? Is to be able to provide the mortgage so that my real estate partners can hand those keys out and make those dreams a reality.
I think she preempted what we were going to do, because you just answered like 3 questions I had
It's
going
amazing.
in. But since you mentioned it, you can go into a little more detail. Tell me more about your team. Who's a part of it? What
Sure.
does everyone do?
So I have a loan partner, Chris Brazell, and he is my right hand. He has worked with me for almost 10 years. I have Holly Lowe. Holly works with me. She's my inside salesperson, so she calls all my leads and gets them queued up for me. Christy Evans makes my life so smooth. If I need anything, a tissue, my girl brings it to me. I mean, she's forward thinking for me before I can, and I am blessed to have her. I've just hired a young lady named Ashley Lacerdo. She's phenomenal. She's 20 years old. You watch out. She's gonna run all over me. She's gonna be the next me, if not 10 times better. She's so passionate about what she does. And then there is the love of my life who manages all of us and helps us with the branch. Richard Riano. I mean, he just makes sure that, you know, everything is compliant and that we're doing all the right things and we're servicing our clients the way we should. And if we have a problem on an op side, he handles it, so I stay face forward with the client. And so that just means the world to me that we're able to set that kind of scenario up. And last but not least, you know, our daughter is our processor. And she is so amazing. She always looks a way to figure out how to make a transaction work. You know, I don't like to say no. I will if I have to, but no, I've overturned every possible rock that exists. So, you know, our daughter is really stepped in that role as well as in the processing seat. So it's a great fit, and we're really doing well. But we thank all of our clients that have stood by us these 20 years, and all the real estate agents that, I mean, you're great, phenomenal. If you work with me, know how much I love you, and you probably already know without me even saying it.
What do you even add to that? That was
Look, can we have little hearts popping off
I
of
know. Gosh, your team sounds so, like, that was like, what, 2 minutes? And I already want to meet every single member of your team.
Yeah, every single one. That's really high
amazing.
praise, and it's amazing to hear you say that about them. I'm sure they would love to hear that. But also, you know, it sounds like with their dedication, they probably know, because you show up every day and do hard work with people that you respect.
Right.
That is really amazing.
You know, I don't treat anybody on my team. You know, people always go, "What's your team?" Okay, it's my name. I'll give you that. But without everybody riding the right seat on the bus and truly believing what I believe about the client and the experience, it would be for naught.
That
It
is
would be
such
for
an
naught.
amazing mentality to
Absolutely.
have. That is incredible. I mean, it makes a world, like, you can really tell some places that you go and they just don't care about anyone except for the one person. But when you have a well-oiled team like that, it just makes a world of difference where everyone can depend on every other person. That's
important.
That's outstanding.
It is important.
We're burning through these questions so quick.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I want to jump in and while we're on it, you know, go over how, you know, my real estate was in Pinehurst in Southern Pines, and I've always worked with a close lender friend who has, you know, a very similar outlook, and he's so caring and so wonderful and genuine and goes that extra mile.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing from you, which is amazing. And then we were talking about coming over here this morning, and Tyler was like, I don't really know what a lender does and how that would be different from going to a bank. And so I'd love to hear your input on, you know, why people should work with a lender and not just go to the bank for a loan. And
I am always happy to address that issue. So, a bank, and not to attack banks, I have friends that work at banks, and banks are great and they have their purpose, but they have one product, they have one rate, they have one ability. I have 30, 40 people I can reach out to, companies I can sell loans to. I can get you a competitive rate, or maybe you got a niche about your income that may need to be had. Well, you're not going to get an approval at the bank. The bank's going to be like, sorry, we don't do that. Well, then what do, right? Or even better yet, your real estate agent needs your pre-approval letter for a multi-offer situation. Your banker's not answering the phone on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. Well, and guess what? You just lost the ability to maybe get your dream home. So those are things you just kind of have to think about, is why you'd like to use a lender that has a lot of tools in the toolbox versus, having a bank that has a hammer. I mean, that's really how it works. I have all the tools and they have one. And then again, it just becomes personality. The bank doesn't hurry up for anybody. They don't.
Right.
If I miss your closing date, and I could list 100 banks, but I'll prefer not to get sued today. The reality is we all know who they are, and we all know they miss closing dates, and all you have to do is Google their name and complaints, and the internet will explain all about those people, and you just don't want that. I've seen many banks miss closing dates where people are now paying thousands of dollars to switch movers, to, stay in hotels. Heaven forbid they have animals. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a nightmare. And just because they don't care. Mm-hmm. They don't have to care, I want to care. I want a 20-year relationship. I'd like to challenge anybody in the banking industry to show me their 20-year relationships, because I just don't believe they're out there.
Because I want to buy a house right now just so that I can use Sherry, right?
I think this is a big thing for especially first-time home buyers who are really nervous about the process, is having someone that they can depend on. That personalized service is going to make all the difference.
Right. If you're a first-time home buyer, you want somebody that takes time with you. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, well, I called the bank and they just gave me this letter. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you want to do. Where do you think you're going to be? How much money do you have? Do you have access to? What is your comfort level on a payment? They have a piece of paper that doesn't even tell them what their payment is. So how in the world do they know what they're doing? And first-time home buyers will say this inevitably. I know this is a dumb question. Okay, let's back up here. It's not a dumb question. No questions are dumb. And then to talk about buying real estate, one of the biggest purchases of your life that could literally make or break you.
And one of the most complicated things ever.
That you will, they don't talk to you about this in school.
Mm-hmm.
They
Absolutely
sure don't.
Not.
And then to think about, you're scared to ask that question. Ask me more questions. Right. I'm available. Here's my cell phone, text me, please. You got questions? Let's go. I mean, I want to give them that information because I want to make it right for them. I've seen a lot of people go through a first-time home buyer dynamic, and they've just been miserable. And they had they got to the table, they're like, well, I didn't even know what my rate was. Is this my payment? And you talk about seeing somebody turn white. That's just not, because they're just like, I don't know what to do now. I've got, or do I walk away because I've got all this money on the table? And then they take a mortgage and they're miserable. So we just, it's not what we believe here.
You're not going to find that at a bank.
Absolutely
That's
not.
a personal level of service that is really, really exponential.
It's almost unheard of in society today for people to care that much. I mean, the whole thing is like simplicity, get in, get out, no human interaction, and you're done. But to provide something like this is just, it makes all the difference in the world to
and
a lot of people.
And something that we really, touch on often, which is, so much of the home buying process is going to direct sale online,
Yes.
And so you find the house and you have, the companies that cut out the agent, and then you've got the bank that cuts out the lender, and it's a very blank process, and it's very informal, and you don't have this, but you also don't have somebody looking out for you, and it's almost like people are afraid to develop this relationship anymore, because they hear certain things, or I heard so and so's uncle's cousin's brother had a bad experience working with a lender or a real estate agent, and it's like, well, that's great,
but they're equally the same story sitting out there for your iBuyer situation.
100%.
Right? Mm-hmm. No communication. They fall off the grid. Nobody will call you back. Where do you go? Right. Are you going to drive to New York City or wherever they're based out of? Because not I'm on. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm right here. I see you in the grocery store. I see people in the grocery store all the time, and it's like, I'm glad they're like me, right? Because I got to answer to them,
And that's the great thing. They can call you. They can interview you.
They
don't have to commit. They can come see this amazing office and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying. Can we have that discussion? You don't get that with a bank. The bank's going to be like, I'll run your credit and let you know what it'll look like.
Yeah.
And same with a great agent. You do have the ability to go out there and interview who you're going to work for. Right. And this is what we're doing. This is why we're here, is to let you know who the best of the best is. So you can kind of cut that process out and go right to the best, you know?
There you go.
Yep. You definitely want to make sure you interview whoever you work with. I don't care whether it's a agent or lender. You've got to have that right connection. This is a big transaction. If someone tells you it isn't, please walk away from them.
Agreed.
There you go.
Agreed.
All right, we're going to take a break from business real quick, and we're going to get to know a little bit about you personally.
Woo!
All right, you ready?
Here we go.
Okay. Tell me, blanket, we're going to be talking about some of your passions in life. So, do you like to travel?
I do.
Okay, I heard she likes to travel.
You did.
Where are some of your favorite places? Give us a few recommendations, a few stories.
Sure.
However you want to
go. We are very passionate about the beach. So I'll tell you a little backstory. One is that now we have a beach home, but we didn't for a long time. And Richard and I literally went from Outer Banks till right at the Keys to try to find a beach place for ourselves. And for 10 years, we were like, we would travel everywhere on the beach. We've been to St. Augustine, we've been to Charles, you name it, up and down and they're all beautiful places, but it wasn't us. It didn't feel right.
Right.
And so, I have history down in Emerald Isle and Atlantic Beach. My father was a city council member on Atlantic Beach before he passed away. And so I have history down there. My parents always took us down to Emerald Isle. Richard had gone to Emerald Isle after he graduated between college and high school and worked down there for a while. So he had some history. We found a house in Pine Knoll Shores, fell in love with it, and bought it. But it took us traveling 10 years up and down all the beaches to find that place that was sitting right here at our back door. That's amazing.
Isn't that always the way it works out? It's right in front of you.
It is. So that's,
it.
it's one of the places. One of the places I love to go is, my brother happens to live in California right outside of LA. And so we've been to Catalina Island. We love it out there. And then when I had a big birthday, you can guess which one. My sweet husband took me to Hawaii, which is the most beautiful place. And if you have we went to Maui, if you've never been there, you must go. It's got to put it on your list. You have no question that God made this world and why He did. It's beautiful. So there's my stories.
Can we go right now?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
The next episode will be in Maui.
Yes.
Sponsored by Sherry
taking
Riano.
us to Maui.
Yes, Sherry's going
show
to.
you how amazing it is.
All right, what about some of your hobbies?
My hobbies are really right now. I have really spent a lot of time with my grandkids that aren't hobbies, but I've really just spent I have spent so much time with them, and I love them. The best thing that I love my two children that we are blessed with, but I always say when you become a grandparent, it's a whole nother level of love that you can't explain. And when I was able to grab a hold of our first granddaughter, Grace, and I'm still so in love with her. And then I got a grandson named Easton, who I'm in love with. And now I have a 1-year-old grandson named Leland, and they're all so sweet and have their own thing. But it is so nice to be with them and love them. And we take them to the beach all the time. They stay with us. Right now they're living with us, which is fun. We'll talk about that on the next episode. But it's so much joy just to spend with them. And so I look forward to going home in the afternoon and talking about what they did at school. And, when you're a parent, you're in the middle of everything, and you think for your child for every moment. You think about, have you brushed your teeth to where you're going to college? And that's 2.2 seconds at any one time, right? And so for me, I love the grandparent part because I don't have to think about it. I get to have the fun with them, and I don't have to worry about where's homework done. And it's just a different level. When you're a parent, you just have to think about everything. So anyway, it's been great, and so I have really focused a lot of my time off. I love walking on the beach. I'm a big beach walker, and I hugely love Pilates. So I'm a big person who loves Pilates. I do that at least twice a week. It's just my thing. So those are my
about any sports you play. I think
that would cover it. I love Pilates, so it's been.
I want to hear
really
everything about it. I was getting my hair done the other day, and my hairdresser has just moved to a new place. He opened his own place, and there's a young lady who opened a Pilates studio across from it, and I didn't understand what was happening. All these really shredded chicks were going in, and I'm like, is that a CrossFit studio? And he said, no, it's Pilates. And I'm like, isn't that what Madonna did?
What?
That's what, when Madonna did her comeback and she got really shredded, she did Pilates. And I didn't know much about it. So it's short muscle movements, right? Very controlled
Yes,
muscle
yes.
movements, right?
Very, very precise.
How long have you been doing it?
3 years. I have a fracture in my back, so my life exists of I can walk, I can do Pilates, and I can swim. But I cannot do any other form of exercise. So when I found Pilates a couple years ago, it really changed my life as far as, how I hold myself. And of course, one of the great things it does is like tightens up your core in a way you never thought you could have a tight core. And so it's good. So I really have loved it. And I just have to put a little blip in here. If you guys live in Cary, Blue Skies Pilates is the way to go, bar none.
Awesome.
Kelly, the owner, is top notch. So highly recommend. Hit her up.
We're all about shout outs here. On
We
the Restless
really
Real
are.
Estate Podcast.
We really are.
That's awesome. Okay, going back to real estate, the final few questions here. So, number one, I know every person in the world is asking this question right now. I think she probably knows the answer better than most people.
I agree.
Is it a good time to buy a home right now?
Excellent. It is an excellent time to buy a home now. Interest rates are 40-year lows. Appreciation is, if you wait a year, you are losing money. You might as well just open the door and throw it out. I just quoted a lady who's paying $1,500 in an apartment, and I gave her a $1,300 payment for a $300,000 house. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, come on.
Oh my gosh.
Don't give your money away. It just doesn't make sense. Appreciation, and I think with this pandemic, I think we've all wanted our space. Obviously we went to work every day, so maybe we did other things, and now we basically just sit at home and work. And so it just having that little extra space that you're going to not have in an apartment or not by owning your home, I mean, it doesn't make sense not to act now.
I don't know how many more times we can tell people. I mean, it's
Agreed.
so true.
Agreed.
It's
And,
so true.
Equally important, you have your great lender. You need that great agent too, because if you don't have a great agent going in there and negotiating, we are also at an all-time low for listings. So when something comes up, you've got a good 24, 48 hours to get a solid
You got to go for it.
offer in. And if you don't know what you're capable of offering, you are already losing.
Especially in a multiple offer scenario.
Absolutely.
And
very
if you don't have the right lender that works with that real estate agent that has you teed up to be ready to act quickly and work alongside the agent to help negotiate that, that deal on the listing agent side and tell them why your transaction is stronger than the other 10 people sitting on the table, you will lose that deal. One thing that we have prided ourselves over the last 2 years is we have developed a process that works, and any agent works with me will be happy to attest to this. If we go in a multiple offer situation, 95% of the time we're going to win the deal if I'm the lender.
God, I love her attitude about stuff.
I'm
like
chilly bumps,
energized.
guys. I know. I'm like, let's
That
go
was so good. I'm ready to
do
go
some
buy a
buying and
house.
selling.
Gosh.
I feel like people think that we're saying that because we are affiliated with Marti Hampton, and obviously we do have preferred vendors that we work with. But you're not paying us to be here. We're not paying you to be here.
No.
We're trying to help people, and we're trying to let them know. This is the education that you need to get out there and make informed decisions when you want to buy or sell. These are the conversations that you need to have, and we're having them so you don't have to. We're giving you that little bump up, and this is absolutely important.
Yeah, did you see how fired up we just got over lending?
Yes.
I mean, it's
Who
real.
would have ever thought?
And it is lending. I mean, come on, it's hard to get excited about it. Just remember, I bring the money. That's a good thing.
That's a good
Sherry
thing.
Riano Team. I bring the money.
I bring the money.
bring
There
the
it
money.
is. There it is.
Chili
All right.
bumps.
Okay, well, let's do this one.
I
So
wanna do that one. Which one?
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk a lot about different charities and nonprofits on our podcast. Do you have any that you would like to shout out?
Yeah, the Food Bank of North Carolina. One thing that I'm very, very passionate about is people not being hungry. It infuriates me to think that we live in this beautiful country we live in, and we are all so blessed, but yet we have people that are hungry. We have children that go home with no food to eat. So I always give to them. It's a big thing for me, and another big thing for me is veterans and getting them what they need. Another piece of our society which I don't understand, these people, freedom isn't free. And these guys give up a lot, sometimes limbs and their lives, and let's not even talk about what their family gives up for us to be free. So I just think, these are two things we need to think about. in our community and in our area is, what can you do to help? So you only got $5 to spend. Let's not go to Starbucks this week, and let's throw it over to the food bank, or maybe throw it to the veterans. Maybe something can be done to help that one person that made a difference in your life without you even knowing it.
What makes me so happy about this podcast is every time I ask that question, immediately there is an answer from every person on here, and I love seeing people passionate about that.
We're in a giving industry.
We
really
are. And I don't think people realize that. I mean, it's just phenomenal. I love it. Okay. My second favorite question to ask people. It's on every podcast. Where do you see the Sherry Riano team in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see the Sherry Riano team expanding even further than we've expanded. I can see us right now expanding out of the states. Right now we're just in North Carolina, but I see us going to South and Virginia, going down to Florida. So I see that happening very much. I've got a lot of contacts down there, and that kind of are similar to what I do, and I can see us expanding in those markets.
I like it.
There you go. All right.
Wait.
Whoa.
Before you do all that, I want to talk about the planner.
Oh, yes.
So this is how actually we have come to be here today. It was maybe a month and a half ago, I think we were
Something like that.
in one of the many offices that we have.
Yep.
And you couldn't open the door, and it was just piled from the floor to the ceiling with just stuff, and our internet was out, and we were there, so we're like, well, let's clean the office, and we'll make some office space for somebody.
Let's go for it.
And will you hand me one of those, please?
We can all take one and
I'm
model
so
one.
excited. In cleaning this, I came across, and if you know me, you know how much I love to plan everything.
Obsessively.
Obsessively.
Right here.
So I
That's
found
right
this,
here.
it was the Win by Noon planner. And the second I opened this planner, I stopped cleaning, I think for the rest of the time.
Yeah, we had to do everything by ourselves while she was reading this.
And I think they're more shocked to hear that it was cleaning than that I stopped.
Christine did something.
It's manual labor. We haven't done since the Air Force. But as soon as I got into this planner, I knew that I was really into something special. And I've gotten the Erin Condren, I've ordered the special, everything. And as soon as I saw this, it's a quarterly planner. And it has Sherry Riano's information on the front. So I said, this is who we need to call. And we called over, and she was like, yes, I can get you some of those things. There's also a training class that goes with it.
Really?
There's a training just to learn how to use this. So please tell us all about this.
It's a robust planner.
Oh, man.
It is. So we're not going to we can't do all that, but I want to give you an overview. Win by Noon planner really helps you. I don't care who you are, whether you are a realtor or lender. It helps both. And what it teaches you is time blocking, laser focusing yourself on being able to get your job done. I mean, we all have to make a lot of calls, we all have a lot of follow-ups, and all of this really lets you highlight the transactions, but it helps you plan your day and be able to laser focus yourself on lead gen, and that's what we have to do in our business. It's just who we are. Whether you're a real estate agent or you're a loan officer, that's what you've got to do. My friend Todd Bookspan, he's the one who developed this, and he is a phenomenal guy. And I honestly got it from him. It's all about him, but he really has shown me how I can improve my time management and become more efficient in my business. And so when I found it, I also got it for my realtor partners because a lot of them were struggling. It's not easy for any of us to say, wow, we don't know how to do something because, it's kind of embarrassing, but, it happens. So, I found a lot of them took it and ran with it. And the ones that wanted to be successful but just needed that step, that little road map to turn left instead of turning right, they have really escalated their business.
Absolutely. I'm always saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And you wake up one day, if you wake up without a plan for that day, it's lost.
Gone.
It's lost. All of a sudden, it's 3-4 o'clock, and you're going, I don't even know what I did.
I know.
Yes. So if you want one of these, I guess the best way is to call me, and I will get you on our team. And then you can call Sherry, and she'll hook you up with a planner.
That is true. That is true. That is how that would definitely work.
So you also give these 3 books, and we love talking about books.
Yep.
And you can go over all of them or one of them, your favorites.
Well, I'm going to hit the top one, which is my favorite. And if you have other questions about books, please feel free to reach out to us about them because we'll help. But Agent Mastermind. So I have a very good friend that is phenomenal, and he has taught me so much, and it's Scott Husbeth. And a lot of you people may know him by the Marketing Animals or Agent Mastermind for realtors. And he has spent his career teaching realtors how to get more business, how to become more confident, how to again, kind of like Todd has, how do you focus your mind and your attention to be able to build long-term relationships? And this book is phenomenal. And I was saying earlier, that when you read this book, you'll be like, really, Sherry? Really? That's all I've got to do? Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get out here and do it, because that's what it requires, And I know there's a lot of, people out there that say it, but it really is so simplistic in everything we do. People ask me, how are you so successful? Because I just get up and work every day. I apply myself heart and soul. And if I'm always trying to learn something. And I think I said this, guys, to you earlier. If you're not learning, you're dying. So don't die, because I'm not ready to today, and I know you're not either. So pick up a book, do something, go home, organize something, do something different for yourself, and just apply it to what you do in everyday life, and your life will exponentially become better.
Amen.
I can't follow it up with anything better than that.
I can't. It's amazing. We love her.
Well, there you have it. Sherry, how can people get in contact with you?
You can always reach me at 919-234-7415 or at Sherry at the SherryRianoTeam.com.
And then your website?
Is the SherryRianoTeam.com.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So, you future, see how much you can borrow. Get started with Sherry Riano. She's awesome. We always say this. I think this is our best podcast yet.
Every time we say it, but
Every time.
I agree. I think this is the best one yet.
I think
We
it's
love
the
Sherry.
host. They do a great job.
Thank you so much, Sherry. We
Thank you
really
so much for
appreciate
being on.
everything
Thanks
you
for
do
having
for
me.
us and our office and our clients. We just are really lucky to be in business with you.
I feel the same. Thank
Absolutely.
you, guys.
All right. Thank you for joining us on the Restless Real Estate Podcast. We will see you next time.
Bye, guys.